afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to EdAmerica TV. Hi, I'm Maya Trainer. I'm one of the guides here at EdAmerica, and we welcome our audience joining us online. We truly hope that you are doing well and staying safe amidst this outbreak. Well, anyway, for those of you who are first timers here, hi, welcome to EdAmerica TV for the first time. EdAmerica is the U.S. Embassy's American Center. Our mission is to provide a space for young generations of Indonesia to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a solely digital platform so you can enjoy our program from the comfort of your own home and help flatten the curve of COVID-19. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comment box below, and our panelists will answer them later in the seminar. And for our friends here who are joining us through Zoom, there are a couple of features that you can use to actively participate in the seminar. You can use the raise hand section to ask your questions with your video on, or you can also use the chat box section whenever you wanted to say hi to the other participant and also the panelist as well. But please keep in mind to use these features wisely, right? Cool. Now, today we will be having a session titled Ask Me Anything with Education USA at America, How to Get into U.S. Universities. But as per usual, before we begin, we are going to have a social media quiz. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. The question is it true or false that Princeton's acceptance rate for the class of 2024 is the lowest among Ivy League schools? I will repeat the question one more time. Listen carefully. Is it true or false that Princeton's acceptance rate for the class of 2024 is the lowest among Ivy League schools? You can participate in this quiz through our social media comment section, and stay tuned till the end of this program to find out if you get the answers right. Now, one more thing before we begin, please don't hesitate to take a selfie, capture this moment, and share through your social media and let everyone know that you are having a great time with EdAmerica. And don't forget to tag us on Instagram at ATAmerica. And now, without further ado, please welcome our moderator for today, Kak Vina Alatas.
All right, thank you so much, Maya. Hi, everyone. Welcome to EdAmerica TV. My name is Vina. I'm one of the advisors for Education USA based in EdAmerica. And as you can probably guess, I am in EdAmerica right now. I'm very excited. I think the last event that we had was 2 weeks ago. And we're kicking off with the new month with Ask Me Anything. This, just like a really laid back type of event this Saturday. So I would also definitely just to say hi to everyone who is watching this from so many different platforms that we have, because not only on Facebook or Twitter, but we also on Instagram and YouTube, and you can also watch us from the EdAmerica's website, and of course everyone who is here in Zoom. I'm looking at some of the participants, and it seems like a number of people are starting coming in. And so, yeah, I'm very excited for this session. Basically, no presentation. I'm just going to have a lot of discussion with Santika and hopefully. So if you have any questions, anything related to studying in the US, any kind of topic, because today, sorry, because usually we have this event in the evening. So today, yes, if you have any questions, anything related to studying in the US, this is the time for you to ask Santika and myself, all right? So if this is your first time, I'm going to give you a little bit of presentation about Education USA. So just in case you're wondering who we are. So give me 1 second. Okay, so what is Education USA? We are part of the U.S. Department of State Network, or here in Indonesia kita bilangnya Kementerian Luar Negerinya Amerika Serikat. We have over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. So as you can see, we are all over the world pretty much. So basically what we do as advisors is, we helped everyone who wants to study in the U.S. for the higher education level. So for bachelor's, master's, or PhD, S1, S2, or S3. And the good news is all of our services are free of charge. And many of you are thinking, this sounds too good to be true, but I can guarantee you guys that it is so true. So Education USA Indonesia, not only here in EdAmerica, but we actually have a total of 8 centers with 10 advisors. So we have 2 in Jakarta. You may already know about that. We have one at the US Embassy with David and Iqbal. We also have, of course, in EdAmerica with me. My name is Vina, and my colleague Santika will join us in a second. And then we also have two in Surabaya, one at the U.S. Consulate General with Husky there, and then we also have one at Unair, Surabaya, with Amber. We also have one in Medan, also at the U.S. Consulate there with Jeffrey, and then we have one in Malang at Universitas Muhammadiyah with Zaki. We also have one in Makassar at Universitas Fajar with Cendani, and last but not least, we have one in Banda Aceh at UIN Araniri with Lilis. So if there is no advising center where you live, you don't have to worry, because basically all of us here covering the whole country. So feel free to reach out either to the nearest Education USA centers, or you can just contact us here in Education USA America. So we provide you with 5 steps. So I think I would love to talk about like each and every step today. So we start with step one, research your options. So if you're thinking about studying in the US, probably for 2022, but you're still not sure where to start, or maybe you're still not sure if you should choose the US, let's have a chat. We'll be happy to kind of convince you to choose the US as your destination. So a lot of things going on in step one, because we can basically have a lot of things covered. If you have any questions about like the very basic things about studying in the US, and then once you're pretty much know the major maybe, or maybe you already know about the universities and everything, we can move on to step two, which is finance your studies, because that's equally important for sure. And the good news is that there are a number of funding options for you guys, especially if you want to study masters or PhD. So usually in step two is when we're looking some of the options, the funding options for you, right? And then once we figure that out pretty much, we can move on to step three, which is completing your application. Of course, a lot of things going on here. The most popular service that a lot of people come here to Education USA, specifically here in at America, is essay review. And if you have any questions on purpose, we can definitely also cover that today. But normally we have this every single month, an event where I would give a presentation on how to write a statement of purpose. But then also we can also take a look at your resume or CV, or this is like the step where we are talking about if you're preparing for your GRE or GMAT, right? Or if you're still deciding, should I take TOEFL or IELTS? So a lot of things, technical aspect in step three. And then once pretty much when you have everything, you're going to submit all the applications, and then you're going to basically wait for the universities, right, until they give you the offer. And then we can move on to step four once you already get accepted, which is applying for your student visa. I know it's not currently the case because the U.S. embassy is still closed, but hopefully, I'm very hopeful they will be open very soon. So hopefully, if you are here for 2022, or even like for 2021, we are expecting definitely that the embassy will be open. But normally what happens in step four is that we're guiding you. So we're not going to apply the visa for you, obviously, but we're guiding you. So if you want to know more about the difference between F1 visa or J1 visa, because both are technically student visa, or the first few steps that you need to do after you get accepted, we can guide you on that, right? Because there are documents like DS 2019 if you're applying for J1, or I-20 if you're applying for F1. You don't have to worry about that now, but if you kind of like want to get a glimpse about like what the applying for the visa application looks like, we definitely have a chat in here as well. And then step five, last step, is prepare for your departure. This is like the event. This is our annual event, and I always look forward to it every single year. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we don't have one this year. But then again, I'm very hopeful that we're going to have one definitely next year. But in the pre-departure orientation event, it's kind of like if my hard work or Santika's hard work in guiding you guys to study in the US paid off. This is where we invite everyone who already get accepted, our advisors who already get accepted, to this one event where we are guiding you on the pretty much the last step, which is pre-departure, right? So we give you information about, how to maintain your student visa when you're there, how to find, like housing. We can, talk about like the classroom experience. Sometimes we invite alumni or even current students. So I love this event so much. And of course, because every event that is happening in America always open for public, even though you have not gotten accepted yet, you are definitely more than welcome to join. And that's like a really good chance for you guys to network with students who are going to study in the US, because usually those who already got accepted, we're going to give them like a name tag. So yeah, like I really look forward for this event next year. So these are basically like the steps that we provide for you guys. So as you can see, it's literally like we guide you every step of the way, right? So, and again, remember that all of our services are free of charge. So technically, we are here for you. So we always urge everyone to use our service. And of course, meet with us. There are two advisors if this is your first time in America. So my name is Fina, and then my colleague Santika will join in a second. So really, I leave our email here if you want to just directly email us. But the good thing, despite the fact that we are fully digital now, it's still like similar to before when America is still open for public. So we are always available every day back then, and we are too now. So this same operating hours. So we start from 1 until 9 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. Our advising system is first come, first serve. So technically, you don't have to make an appointment. You can basically just coming in to Zoom, and then normally, Santika will be there from 1 until 5, and then I'll do the rest of the shift from 5 until 9 p.m. All right. Or if you don't feel like just jump into Zoom and talk to one of us, that's okay too. You can email us first to our email center here. If you don't want to also email us directly, it's jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org. So you can either introduce yourself there, or maybe you want to just kind of share with us your essay, but we're not reading your essay offline. But feel free to just share it via email, and then we can talk via Zoom, and then take a look at the essay together, and resume or CV, or what have you. All right. So my next slide, I'm going to show you what's going on with Education USA events this month. So it's going to be the Thursday, November 12th. This is part of our monthly event. Maybe some of you who are watching this already, at some point attended this event. But if you want to also attend this again, feel free to do that. It's building strong CVs or resumes and letters of recommendation, specifically for U.S. graduate school application. So we're going to have it on Thursday at 6:30. Very exciting event. This is going to be the first time that we've ever done this with Permias. So if you want to study in the US, you will definitely want to familiarize yourself with Permias, because they are there in the US. You can actually be part of it. So if you're kind of like curious what Permias is and what the activities that they're doing, definitely attend this session. So we invite Permias Los Angeles, we invite Permias New York, we invite Permias Massachusetts, and Permias DC. Those are the big states that most Indonesians are going to for higher education. So if you want to know more about like just the state, or maybe you want to kind of like learn more about the living environment in the states, definitely attend the session. It's going to be on the next day after the CV1 on Friday, November the 13th. And then the week after that, we're going to have my favorite for sure, how to write a statement of purpose or personal essay for U.S. universities. This is also part of our monthly event. So if you missed one last month, you can definitely attend this one. And then we're going to have that again in December and January. So definitely we have this every single month. All right. So yeah, I am going to, oh wait, I think, yeah, one more slide. If you want to check out this event, or if you want to register to this event, because the Zoom rooms for this event are already available on the website, you can definitely go to either the Education USA official website, or you can directly go to Edamerica website, right? edamerica.org.id, and then you can put Education USA, and then you will automatically go to the Education USA page. Just scroll all the way down, and then all the events, upcoming events for Education USA will be there. So then you can click one of the events or maybe all of them, and then you can register for the Zoom room. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop share this. And then I would like to say hi to my colleague Santika. Hi, Santika.
Hi, Fina. Very nice to have you on
Same
Saturday.
here. I
Yeah.
really, you know what? Like, I'm waiting until we are open for public, and we, able to meet in person, because we definitely going to have this event again, and we're going to be on the stage, both of us. This is so weird. Like, I'm in America, you're at home, because we are on a different team. So we are not allowed to meet each other in person. But yeah, how are you doing, Santika?
I'm doing great, actually. I'm just worried that the weather is kind of like changing and everything. So, yeah, I wish everyone well, and take a better care of yourself, so that you can stay at home and work from home. And I think a lot of our like employees is going back to office, at least like the working hours. So from like morning to afternoon, and that's why during my hours from 1 until 5 in the Zoom for the shift, I find that during that time there are more undergrad students who are available compared to those who are applying to graduate. Yeah, because then usually I think they end their school hours at 1 or 2, so they can still meet me until like 5 p.m. But for the graduate applicants, they are working like from 10 until 5 or 6. So that's why they come to your hours instead. But yeah, I do have some graduate applicants as well who can make it on the afternoon time, which is very interesting. But yeah, the weather is changing, and then I think we just have to bear until like everything gets better and the centers open again, because I think it's going to be different in a way, making events like this and meeting advices in person. It's very different.
Absolutely. But I think, don't you agree? Like, now that we're doing this digitally, it seems like there are a lot of people who do not live in Jakarta, and they reach out to us. So I
Definitely.
I think that's, yeah.
I have one from actually Kazakhstan.
Oh, yeah.
Because we make online events quite regularly, I think, compared to like other centers. We used to have 6 to 8 events per month, right, Vina? And so everything's up on the educationusa.state.gov, which is like the official website of our Education USA. So other people from all around the world can access that and see the event, and it's online, and free. So everyone, regardless of where they are, they can just tune in and match the time that we are doing the event. And I think she went to one of our events or two, and then she was like, "Oh, you can take a look at my CV or resume. Can you like help me in this and that?" So yeah, it's very interesting. We have more students from outside of Jakarta, and you experience that too, right?
Yeah. Like even with a number of people from the LPDP recipient for the LPDP BIT, Beasiswa Indonesia Timur. I have a couple of those. So I love it. I love the fact that we got to be able to work with pretty much like everyone in Indonesia.
Yes.
Dari Sabang sampai Merauke.
Merauke, yes.
So yeah, so it's actually really nice. It's actually really nice, And so
yeah, I think it's possible because we are online, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Although like I'm like when we are back, open again for public in America, we definitely like prioritize people, and we urge and we prefer actually for people to come in person to America. But hopefully when that happens, we are also able to keep the Zoom So we
Yeah.
still allow people who do not currently live in Jakarta or Jakarta area to be able to also still see us,
Yeah.
right? There is someone in
Definitely.
Zoom asked Ardila Sriwijayanti. Hi Ardila, do we need any password for joining the Zoom session?
No.
The answer is no. So it's an open room.
Yeah.
Basically, like we definitely, we turn it on. Like when Santika starts, like at 1, Santika will turn the Zoom on until 5, and then I will take over from 5 until 9 p.m. It's an open room, so technically everyone can come in, but we have to let you in. So you are going to be put in the waiting room,
Yeah.
and so if there is no one, if there is no advising session going on, and then we are both, one of us, like available in front of the computer, and we're ready to have a session with you, we are going to let you in.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, I got here at 10. So I got here at 10 and then I turned my Zoom on. Well, it's unusual because on Saturday we don't usually, during the digital like this, we don't start until 1. But I was here early, and then I was just turning my Zoom on because I wasn't able to, see some of my advisees the last couple of days.
The
And
other
so I
day.
promised them
Yeah.
coming on Saturday. And so, like earlier before this event, I met with 3 of my advisees, and then we talk
Nice.
about like essay. Which, by the way, Santika, Kaya, do you want to share some of your advices around this time?
Yeah.
Do you receive new advisees, or are most of them recurrent advisees?
So this past 2 months, we got a lot more new advicees, and then they become recurring because they come to us for the essay review because of the deadline is really close. So this is like our busiest time of the year, right, Fina? Because of the deadline is approaching, and a lot of people needs an input on the essay. And this is fun. Satwika is here, so he is one of my new and recurring advisee at the same time.
Well, Satwika sounds very familiar. I think has Satwika has been attending our session.
Yes.
Can I assume
Hi
that?
Satwika, thanks for coming. So yeah, guys, if you have questions, hit them in the chat box. And Fina, the first question that you just answered, I don't get it. I think it's because of if she or he send it through the private message. So you are sending your questions in Zoom. Make sure that they are,
not private,
to everyone, so that just in case Fina or me missed it, we can, see it still there. So yeah, and there's Jimmy as well. He asked here, hi Santika and Fina, I would like to know about what are the scholarship channels to study in the USA. Thank you. So this is step 2. Basically, it's financing your studies. So Fina and I were like talking before this event start. Like, what are we going to talk about?
I actually really love this session because technically, guys, like Santika and I, we are not really preparing anything because we just want to talk to you guys. We just want to discuss as many topics as possible regarding studying in the US. So like how when I present a session about like essay, we are expecting like the whole night we're only talking about essay, right? But like today with this kind of session, we love to just talk about everything, like from step 1 until step 5. So
and the funny thing is, I actually think that this kind of session, maybe like in the future, if we make more of this, is intended for people who never been to our advising session before. So it's kind of like their first time to, just channel out their questions and everything without much pressure of, meeting us, either one of us, like one-on-one, because a lot of advisee are pretty shy in a way, because when I was in Zoom, very rarely of them turn on their video. So
do you think that's also because you don't turn your video?
Yes, but I tried turning on my video, and it's they still don't turn on.
I think we have this conversation, right, Santika? Like for me, it's so weird when I went to Zoom and I don't like talk to you guys without turning my video on. So even though like when we're doing the advising, I mean like now I'm like in America, so like I have like my makeup on and everything.
Yeah.
But like when I do the advising, when I stayed at home, don't expect me like, wearing like this kind of
Looking like that.
clothes, and my hair was just like literally I was just like staying at home. But then I still turn my video on, and I know it sounds like embarrassing.
Yeah.
I hope people are not. Who is this advisor? It's not professional, but it's just like so weird for me. Just like talk
Yeah,
with
without looking.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's really interesting because sometimes they're waiting for me. I like they want to check if I turn my video on or not. Like if I turn my video on, they will turn their video on.
Yeah.
But if I turn off my camera, then they will also turn their camera off. So
Yeah. That's
but
interesting.
yeah.
I would love to try that. So actually, I think it's like a lot of people try to turn off their video because they practically work from home and doing the same
They
thing like
also
what
feel
we're
this,
doing,
yeah.
like we just wear something very casual without any makeup. And maybe I don't know, when I turn on the video, and I'm talking about recurring advices and they're still that shy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I turned on the video the whole session and he still didn't turn it on. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should try another approach next time. And it's to know the person that you're talking to, just in case, when we are open and he or she is visiting, we know the person, hey, you're my advisee.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
But yeah, very happy to see Satwika and Jimmy. Jimmy is very familiar as well. I think he
Oh, really?
came to advising session before, or not like our events before. Satwika, Jimmy, and we have Suchi as well, Ardila as well. So
The
first
names
question,
are all familiar who are
yeah,
here.
you guys
Oh, yeah,
are
Sandip's here as
very
well.
nice to
My
come,
advisor. Yeah.
to come more than once to our events, and we occasionally got this email saying, just an email, not like question, follow-up question after our events or anything, Fina. You remember like emails that after we finish our event, there's just this one or two emails coming in saying thank you for making this kind of session and everything, and it's like, oh my god, we are going to make more. Let's make more.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was nice that we are fully online, but still we are expecting to go back to the in-person one, because then I think it's just a different experience. But yeah, Fina said keeping them both are really a good alternative, actually.
Yep.
So, question from from Jimmy, I think. So
Yeah.
the
So Jimmy
scholarship
said, yeah, because I
options
asked,
semester.
yeah, so I asked Jimmy
Mhm.
if the scholarship channels that he meant, is it for undergrad or masters or grad, and he said masters. So scholarship channels. So for masters, the two scholarships that we usually mention to people are the first one is Fulbright, right? And then
Yeah.
the other one is LPDP. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Like Fulbright, it's a scholarship coming from the U.S. government, and then LPDP, obviously, you already know, is started from the Indonesian government. So most of our advisees are aiming for LPDP, yeah. So we only have like just few number of people with Fulbright that also use our service. I think the reasons is because once you are part of Fulbright, you will be taken care of. That's the way I look at it. I believe they have like their own mentorship program, so you will be matched with I think a Fulbright alumni, and then they will help you with the essay and everything. But yeah, only a few number of people kind of use our service. And then of course the LPDP. So usually when people ask me, Sofina, if I want to study masters, what would be like the scholarship for me? Usually I will say LPDP, especially if you are aiming for the highly selective universities, and then you are categorized as LPDP regular applicant. Maybe you kind of like want to familiarize yourself with like the number of different type of applicants for LPDP, right? Because and why LPDP is because I would say they're the one that would be able to give you like a full ride, full covered. scholarship. And then let's say you are not like let's say you're not going to apply for Fulbright or LPDP. What would be the other options? And my answer would be like from the campus, right? But then when it comes to funding coming from the campus, it's also it depends on the kind of program that you want to do. The more sciencey the program that you want to apply, the more you will have a chance on getting the scholarship or the fund from the campus. So usually it's in the form of GRA, Graduate Research Assistantship. So you apply for that position, and then usually they are going to waive the tuition, and then in return they're going to pay you in a way, right? They call it allowance. They don't really call it like salary because it
Yeah.
sounds like you work for the campus, but technically you are working for the campus. So that's that. But if you're planning to study like MBA, for example, it's very rare for the campus to fund your study. I'm pretty sure there is at least one or two that give you that kind of scholarship, but it's just very rare. But then we have this conversation with with incoming MBA students, or like public policy, HKS there last time, your advisee, right, Santika?
Yeah.
Shafika? Yeah, where she mentioned that like highly selective universities like Harvard, and some other schools, like they might have some funding options available for students who already get accepted. Usually it's in the form of like loans. But if you ask me personally, would I consider that? For me personally, the answer is no, because I just don't like the idea of me being in a huge debt.
Yes.
although maybe like the ROI, the return of investment, like when you after you graduate. So for example, you graduate from like highly selective university on an MBA program.
Hmm.
And then you might land, like a really good job, and then you can
Right.
pay back like quickly. But it's just like not for me. That
Right.
would be kind of like the very last resort,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, so in terms of like scholarship, if you are if you're Indonesian, I would definitely like consider LPDP or Fulbright.
Yeah, I agree with you, Fina. But just so you know that there is no, one scholarship that fits everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So just do your research on each of them, like LPDP, Fulbright. Like look at the differences because, like what Fina explained, they just have a bit of different system or like process.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, emang sama-sama scholarship, full funded and everything, but you need to know if let's say Fulbright have a cap of what 30 to 35,000 per year and everything like that, and that you don't get to really choose which university that you want to attend. Although if you have like the LOA from certain university for your program, you can tell them, look, I got this LOA from this university, can you support me to study there? They will consider it, but there is no guarantee that they will say yes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's for Fulbright, and LPDP have different types like BIT, afirmasi, la la la. So look at which LPDP or LPDP that you are eligible for, because aside from the regular, I think you have a better chance in terms of the number of applicants will be much different. So yeah, look at other options and alternatives. And I think the last resort is as well loan, but it's not for everyone. So make sure you know the risk, and calculate your risk. If you think it's worth it, then the return on investment is great and everything. Then maybe you want to try that, but be very careful in that last option of loan, because then we are international students. The currency and everything fluctuates so much. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
I want
Jimmy. Yeah.
to,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy here is saying that I'm thinking about taking filmmaking, and I
Mhm.
think it's really interesting because I have not heard
Yeah.
that often. I mean, I don't have like I have not heard like someone want to do filmmaking in a master's degree level. So go for it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And last time I checked with LPDP, they accept people who are interested in studying master's degree or PhD level in the like art type
Huh?
of department, which is good because the previous year they used
Mm.
to have it like back in the day, like a couple of years ago, and then they
Right.
stopped. funding applicants who want to study art, but then they had it again, just like last year. I have one advisee who wants to do, like, he's already like an LPDP awardee, and he wants to study filmmaking as well in California. So yeah, no, this
Yeah.
is really interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, it got me thinking because Jimmy mentioned something about film, and that's like art. I was moderating one of the event in America, not Education USA
Oh,
event per
yep.
se, but it was about music. And two of the speakers, and one of them is actually the professor. I forgot whether they are like master or PhD students, but they went through the master. I think they're on PhD right now, but they got master. One of them got master degree in music as well in the United States, and I think they got funded by LPDP. So yeah, check it out, Jimmy, on LPDP, and look if they can support you for the program that you want, because they're very specific. That's why I said you need to do your research.
Yep.
And I have a follow-up questions here on scholarship, Vina.
Mm-hmm.
So dari Agung Yuanto, is it possible to apply any kind of scholarship in the US but still in seventh semester? So I think seventh semester is the almost the graduation for the undergrad here, right? Kayaknya sini
8 semester kan?
berapa semester sih? 8, right? Yeah. So yeah, is it okay if you apply for any scholarship to US when you're in the seventh semester? What do you think?
I think it would be tricky, because look, so for example, like if you want to apply for LPDP, they will ask you for your transcript.
Oh,
right? But I may be wrong though. Like, this is like maybe the questions that we don't have the answer to. Do you know anything about Fulbright, Sandika?
yeah, I think you got to submit. So I don't have like the list of requirements on top of my head right now, but I think you have to submit transcript in a way to show that you have graduated, I think. And yeah, I think for LPDP as well, they ask for that. So yeah,
Yeah, because the administrative stuff that they ask, most likely they will ask you to submit your transcript. So
Yeah.
if you're still in your 7th semester, I don't know if they allow you to kind of just submit whatever you have, and then you know
yeah,
add that's something that we don't have the answer. I'm sorry, but
yeah, and I think it's a bit different with, let's say, if you're a high schooler applying for undergrad, because then when you apply, you don't really need to have all of your graduation record and transcript when you apply because of the transitions. But for graduate, I think it's just a bit different in the sense that they kind of expect you to have at least they kind of expect you to at least graduate, or very encouraged to have at least some working experience, if that makes sense. That's why maybe on the seventh semester is not that encouraged. But yeah, do take a look at the requirements. If you see transcript in the list, then I don't think you are able to apply for that. Okay.
So I'm reading some of the questions, and I love it. I love
Yeah,
the questions.
this is like a semi-private advising session.
Advising, but live.
Yeah, but live, so everyone else can learn from each other's questions.
Yeah. All right. So
next question.
we got this one question from Fuchi.
Mhm.
Hi, Santika and Fina. Is high GPA is important to pursue postgraduate or PhD in USA? Oh, I love this question. And I think the way I will answer this will also applicable for you guys if you want to study masters. So or even like
Yes.
under bachelor, right? So so let's make the questions a bit like more general. Like, is high GPA is important if you want to study in the US? Period. So the answer is is yes and no. I know like it doesn't give you like a definite answer, but it's really interesting when it comes to studying in the US. The way I look at it, if you want to study elsewhere, like outside Indonesia, no, outside the US, I'm sorry, is that they will, the one factor that they really take a look at your application would be your GPA. And that's why when people are thinking about like studying in the US, they are also thinking that GPA matters. But in the US, they have like this system where the way they, not system, I don't know what they call it, but the way they review your application is holistically. This is like the term that not a lot of people like have heard in the past. But so what does that mean? With holistic review, means that they're not only take a look at one aspect. Like other campuses, even like in Indonesia, right? Like as long as you have good grades, you're pretty much like good to go. But in the US, we actually see a lot of students with almost perfect GPA and stuff, but then they still don't get it. They still don't get accepted. It's because they really take a look at everything equally, right? So not only they're going to take a look at your GPA, but then they're also take a look at your letters of recommendation, your resume or CV, your essay, your GRE or GMAT if they ask you for it, right? So now the idea is we want to balance everything out, right? So this is like my way of saying that you don't have to worry if you only have like 3.0 GPA. And I don't even like say, like, normally I don't say 3.0 GPA as only, because 3.0 is, it's not like that bad. It's just like different people have like different sense of like what is a good GPA and what is not a good GPA. But for me, like 3.0 GPA is good, especially like if you have 3.0 GPA and you have like a really strong application. So, but now, okay, let's see, you want to study like in highly selective universities, right? Yes, you probably want to aim for like 3.5 and above GPA, but if you don't have 3.5 and above GPA and you still want to study in highly selective universities with 3.2 or 3.1, do it. Because I've seen a lot of my some of my advisees with 3.5 below GPA and they still get accepted to this highly selective universities. So we, again, like we just want to balance everything out, right? So if you have, let's say, 3.1 GPA, okay, for the university they'll be like, this is not like the best GPA, this is just like an okay GPA. So what can you do about like to make your application really good? Then play around with like other document that you can have control over, right? Because like when I have an advisee, I don't even like bother asking their GPA, because what is that for? Like, it's not like if you say, oh, my GPA is 3.1, and then I will say, go back to school and then get like 3.5 GPA. I can't do that, right? Like, so it's something that we don't have any control over. So let's not dwell with that, right? So now let's move on. Let's focus on things that we have control over. So basically everything. Like, if you don't have like a strong resume or CV, maybe you can think about not applying this year or maybe next year, and then so for the full 1 year you are going to like memoles si resume dan CV, right? But like essay, for example, that's definitely something that you can keep improve all the time, right? Or your GRE, although I have like this thing with the GRE where I think like taking GRE just once is enough, because I see a lot of people, I have like advisees who have taken GRE like for the second time, for like 3-4 times, and then the scores are not really going anywhere, right? So intinya kayak just do your best on your GRE, right? But then like again, like letters of recommendation, for example, if you couldn't find like the one that can write a good like letters for you, then you have there are ways for you to find one that can write something good for you. So yeah, no, Suchi, thank you for this question. So the answer is yes and no. I mean, they will definitely take a look at your GPA, but it doesn't mean that especially for you for PhD, right? Unless the university actually literally mentioned that. I think I have one advisee just recently told me that, yeah, I want to apply for this campus, and then they mentioned that the GPA that they require is something something, and I found it really interesting because it's not actually common. But it makes sense if there's one or two universities that do that, right? But just as long as the universities don't mention anything about GPA, then you're pretty much good to go. We are still have like ways to you still have chance of getting it.
And I think I want to add a bit on Fina's answer, which I think on point. And I want you to all of you to know that there's this word holistic that
Yep.
we use for what U.S. education is kind of like, how they value holistic. So it's not just that they will look at your GPA and then cut you off just because your GPA is not certain number, or your GRE or GMAT is not certain score. They will just cut you off unless, like Fina said, they mention that in, like, the list of requirements on that. But even if they mention it, sometimes they just, it's just like, if you still apply regardless of, if you meet the grades or the number or not, sometimes they see that as kind of like your value as well, because you are, you can show other aspect of you that is very valuable as well. So in your essay, letter of recommendations, and everything like that. And it's funny because then we have another question asking about that. It's from Sanditya. Sanditya is also a recurring participants, and I can't really remember if he went to our advising session or not before, but I
He
see his name.
Sandita is
Your
my advisor.
advice. Okay,
So
so he have a question, Fina.
yes.
Hi, Fina and Santika. Good to see you. More and more schools are putting the GMAT or GRE requirement as optional. As currently my score is below the median score, should I focus more on other aspects of the application? I think this applies with, you just mentioned the score. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I love this question. And the answer is yes. Just focus on the other application. So if you guys actually want to study for 2021, and I think there are some universities that already open for, or maybe not, for 2022, and then they still waive the GRE or GMAT because of like the situation and everything. Really use this opportunity to apply,
Yes.
because we let's assume that by next year the pandemic will end, and then the university might require people to submit your GRE or GMAT again. But like this time, like use this opportunity to, yeah, not taking GRE or GMAT. So the way I look at it, so and even before like the pandemic, right? There are a number of universities that say the GRE or GMAT are optional. So let's talk about like the term optional, right? And I love this
Yeah.
topic, and because there are people, and there's no wrong or right answer to this question. Like if it's optional, should I submit it or not? But the thing is, like, there are people who, when they see the word optional, they will do it, right? But for me, if you ask me personally, optional is optional, right? As straightforward as that, especially like when it comes to like the United States. Like for them, it's very straightforward. If they say optional, it means that if you don't submit it, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose point compared to people who submit their GRE or GMAT. So for me, again, optional is optional. Especially with this pandemic, it's just kayak clearly for them itu kayak they don't want to just simply abandon GRE or GMAT. And the way I look at it, this is kind of like their nicer way to kind of like, yeah, we actually don't need to see your GRE or GMAT, but instead of like saying you don't have to submit one, we're just gonna put optional, right? So in this situation, it would be depend for me, like should you submit it or not. If you have the money, if you have the time, if you know that you're going to get good grades, good score on this task, you have the like you actually want to take it, you have the extra time to work on it, then do it, right? But if you kind of, you know what, if I don't take GRE, I can move, like I can focus on my, like exactly what you said, Sanditya, like you can maybe think of like focusing on your essay, letter of recommendation, maybe you want to kind of like modify a little bit of your on your resume or CV, then do that. Then do that. But now that you already have the score, which you said is below the median score, then just submit it. I mean, it's not like for them, they will kind of like look at it, and then if they see that your score is below the median, it's not like they will say, oh, because your score is like below the median, we're not going to accept you. It's not fair on their side because they already clearly say it's optional. So what they're going to see is just, okay, below median score, and then they're just gonna put it aside. They're gonna focus on the other document. So yeah, the answer is yes. Just focus on the other aspects, and you don't have to bother about like thinking on retaking it. At least for this current situation
All
where
right.
they say optional.
All right, got it. So, when you said about taking the chance, the opportunity right now, Suchi have another question. If I take the opportunity now and I fail, can we apply for next year?
Which one is this?
The last question from Suchi.
Oh, okay, if I take
If
the
I'm
opportunity
taking the
now
opportunity
and I
now.
fail, can I? Absolutely. This is also something that a lot of people afraid. Like if they got rejected, it means that they're not going to be able to get accepted the following year. The way I look at it is actually the opposite. You know, a lot of people kind of like afraid. Oh, if I already get accepted once, the next year I apply, they will kind of not. We're not going to accept you because you failed last year. I actually see the opposite to that. If you got rejected, see it on the positive side. And if you want to wait for the following year and try again to the same university, for me, if I work for the admissions committee in whatever universities in the US, the way I look at it, I will fully respect you. The fact that you are very determined in waiting for the next year and then applying to the same campus again. The way I look at it, it really shows how you're serious about this. In fact, I actually just had a session before this event with one of my advisees who got rejected last year to University of Chicago. And then she came to me again like just a couple of weeks ago, and then she said, I'm reapplying to the same campus. And then she kind of like unsure if she's gonna accept it. But I said, oh, I love it that you're going to apply to the same campus again. And then we are working on the essay at the moment. And then I said, I recommend her to mention somewhere in the essay that this is the second time that you're applying, and then mention something about like how you are just very determined, and like you're very sure, very certain that this university is actually for you. That's why you are willing to wait, right? So yeah, don't worry about it, Suchi. Like if you got rejected, hopefully not, then if you want to apply again, you are definitely allowed to do that.
Yes, we actually have. It's actually not rare for us, Fina and me, to have an advisee who applied previous year and they didn't know us at that time, and then they realized, oh, there's Education USA who can, give me an input on my essay, CV, and resume, and let me ask these kind of questions on anything that I am confused with. Then they take the chance, like they reapply with our guidance, and hopefully that they will get accepted. Well, we are quite positive in what we are doing right now. So yeah, I'm going to move to some undergrad questions, Vina,
Yep.
still about scholarships. We have two similar questions on the scholarship for undergrad. So here is a question from Christy in Zoom. Hi, I'm currently looking for outside scholarship, as in scholarships offered by private organizations instead of the university themselves for undergrad studies in the US. Do you guys have any recommendations? And another one is from Andrian Fernandez in YouTube. I hope you're still watching. His question or her question is, I'm taking a gap year this year, but I'm planning on going study in the US with fully funded undergrad scholarship. Is there any available ones for prospective international students like me? So I actually answered Christy in the chat box. I mistaken that for the graduate, so I said LPDP and Fulbright. But yes, she's right. Fulbright and LPDP for graduate. For undergrad, unfortunately, it's very, very rare to have fully funded scholarship, even if there are some, but they are from university directly. Jadi emang the university that gives the fully funded scholarship, like as in full tuition, but you still have to cover like the living expense and everything. So make sure that you really find out about the fully funded, what are covered and what are not covered. And that is from the university directly. So in terms of organizations, I don't remember any, and I don't think that there are certain organizations that do that. I mean, even if they are, it will be very rare and very hard to find as well, and you need to qualify for that. And yeah, it's just not that we really know of for the undergrad outside of the university itself for the fully funded scholarship. So for Andrian, you can try to look at the universities that can offer you fully funded scholarship, or yeah, try. So Fina give you another resource here, fundinguSstudy.org. You can
Yeah.
try.
So I think Andrian is watching us from YouTube, so I don't think he can read it, but it's called it's fundinguSstudy.org.
Yes.
And this actually is not only for undergraduate, but it's actually a thing for masters and PhD as well. So it's like a database. Basically, they will be able to filter some of the options of, by programs or by state, and then it's like a database, like where the universities,
Yeah.
if they have like certain scholarship and stuff like that, you can see it from there.
So yeah, my tips is hunt down the scholarship. Like go on extensive research on what are available for you, because then you just want to make sure you just need to be careful. If they require certain payment for your application, then you want to reconsider that, because it's weird, to require a payment for a fully funded scholarship that meant to support someone fully. So yeah, try fundinguSstudy.org. And I also have an advisee who got his or her PhD fully funded, and that is in science field. You can try nature.com. If you are in a science field and you're trying to look for funding, try nature.com. But it's not only for US. So if you're only looking for the US, then you may want to find more websites like fundinguSstudy.org. Okay?
Yeah.
Hope that answers. And let's move to another question. Do you want to do SOP or CV first, or like more information or visa? I put it under category there.
Let's do visa.
Yeah.
What do we have?
We have from Monica. Hi, Vina and Santika. Thank you for this session. Well, thank you for coming. I hope you guys stay healthy. And I want to ask, what is the specific difference between F1 and J1 visa, and which one is better? Is it possible for me to have an internship if I have the J1 one? And is it true that the U.S. Embassy prioritizes the J1 than the F1 visa? Thank you in advance.
All right, so this is going to be very technical, and let's see if I still remember this. But okay, so there are actually 3 different type of student visa. There's F, J, and M, but you don't have to worry about M. M1 visa is kind of like for vocational study, and I don't even know what vocational study. I've never met anyone who's applying and need M1. So let's focus on just F1 and J1, right? So if you want to study in the US for like a bachelor's or master's or PhD, you will you technically have an option for like either F1 or J1, but F1 is the most common one, right? J1 is actually considered kind of like an cultural exchange type of visa, and Fulbright is actually under J1, because they kind of like see the Fulbright scholarship as an exchange, or as like a cultural exchange type of program, although you will come back home with a degree, right? So F1 is the way I look at it. If you're asking which one is more flexible, I would say F1, because once you got an F1 visa, when you apply for the visa, you will automatically get 5 years. Although your study is only 2 years, like 2 years master's, you will get 5 years. But doesn't mean that you can stay for like 5 years, right? It's just kind of like, it's automatically you will get like 5 years span of like F1 visa. So what happened is, like, if you do master's for 2 years, right? Or maybe for whatever reason you need another semester, maybe, and then you will have to, and then you finish like in 2.5 years, you're still safe, because you still have like another 2.5 years left on your visa, right? Or maybe like after you graduate, you want to continue do like an OPT, or like doing an internship in the US. You can do that under the F1 visa, right? And then again, you have like 5 years. But with J1, when you apply for the visa, you only get 1 year. But as long as, so if your study is like 2 years and then your visa is 1 year, and then people ask, so does that mean that after 1 year I have to like apply again? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if you leave the country after 1 year. So maybe you need to do like some conference as part of your study to Europe, for example, you're going to leave the country, right? And if your visa is already expired, for you to get in the US again, you will have to apply for the visa again, right? To renew it, renew the visa. But as long as if your study is 2 years and you're not planning to leave the country, even though you already reached the 1 year J1 visa, the 1 year stay, as long as you don't leave the country, you are still allowed to continue your visa, although it's already expired. So that's the two main difference between F1 and J1, right? Which one is better? Usually, the way I look at it, it depends if you are going to the US on your own or you bring your family, right? If you have a spouse or children, a spouse and or children with you, usually people prefer J because your spouse will be considered as J2 visa holder, and then with J2 they are allowed to work on campus. Work in the US, right? But if you are on F and then you bring your spouse, you are not allowed to. Your spouse is not allowed to work, right? So, but if you're planning to just like go on your own, I prefer to actually do F. And then the last question is about: is it true that the U.S. Embassy prioritized the J1? In general, the answer is no. In general, like when the embassy is open, they will basically prioritize any kind of student visa, right? Be it J1 or F1, they will prioritize it. So in fact, every Monday is they have like a specific slot only for student visa. But it doesn't mean that you only able to apply for the visa on Monday. You can technically take any other day, but actually if you couldn't find any other days, Monday is definitely for student visa. So you don't have to worry about not getting like a slot or anything like that because they really actually prioritize student visa. However, during the pandemic like this, the embassy basically still closed and they're not issuing any student visa, but yes, they are currently accepting a limit number of J1 visa, but we are not allowed. I mean, we don't know because we are not part of the U.S. visa consul or the U.S. embassy, so questions related to visa at this point, we'll refer you to the website. Maybe we can share it, Santika, the
email,
the visa travel, the U.S. visa travel doc. What is it called?
Okay, let me find it.
The U.S. visa travel docs.
USTravelDocs.id.
USTravelDocs.com/ID for Indonesia. All of the latest update regarding the visa is still there. So
yep, got it. So I'm gonna share it to the chat box. Yeah, and also you can try to I think there are other links on like Facebook or anything, but I don't have it on top of my mind. So if you need those updates, you can email me at salim@educationusa.org, and I can copy paste them and send it to you.
Okay? Oh, and I just gonna real quick answer Monica's question.
Sure.
One of Monica's questions about, is it possible for me to have an internship if I have the J1? Absolutely. So J1, F1, you are definitely allowed to do internship during or after your study. So during the study, usually they call it CPT or curricular practical training. If you're going to do the internship after your study, so after you graduated, they call it OPT or optional practical training. For J1, they call it AT, academic training. And they have like for OPT it's like 12 years, 12 months. Except unless if you're doing STEM is science, technology, engineering, or math, you can extend the OPT for another 2 years exactly. And then with academic training, they have like this formula. Like it depends on how long your study is. So if your study is 12 to 24 months, you can get like I think half of it or something like that. I need to check it again. But yeah, so technically you can do internship for sure. And you can also work on campus if you want. So in the US, the difference between, maybe this is like one of the reasons why people do not really want to study in the US, because it's compared to like if you study like in Australia, for example, you are
Yeah.
allowed, it's very flexible for you guys to like work outside campus. In the US, it's a different thing. In the US, you are allowed to work, but only on campus, and then only a maximum of 20 hours a week. So, and I like it. I mean, I don't like, why would you start, why would you go abroad and then busy working?
I
I
mean,
think for
your
me, like
goal is
20,
to study.
right? Yeah, yeah. And then I think for me,
Yeah.
20 hours a week, for working on campus is like doable.
It's a balance there.
Exactly.
So yeah, and I think a lot of parents also encourage the children to go to US is because if they know this, they will think like, okay, so you don't have an excuse of, oh, I don't have time studying because I'm working. You only got maximum of 20 hours work on campus, not outside of campus on anything. And I think it's also for a safety purpose that you can only work on campus. So there you go. I hope that answers the question, Monica. And we can move on to, let's see. I think we can do the info and then the statement of purpose or CV for the last part. Vina, what do you think?
Sure.
Okay, so this is from Muhammad Akil in Zoom. Hi Santika, how do we know where the best place to study for some certain major, considering that there's a lot of different university in United States? Do you have any website or trusted information available? Well, you can try.
Who is
I
this again,
forget what.
Santika? Sorry.
So he's trying to find the best school for the program that he wants.
Siapa namanya?
Muhammad Akil Noviandri.
Okay.
How do we know where the best place to study for some certain major, considering that there are so many universities in the United States? Any website or information available? So I forgot the name of the website, but usually is US Study, I think. Let's try. Study USA is one that you can try. So actually, it really depends, because when you go online and then you search, like, let's say I want to study computer science. If I go online and Google like computer science in United States, and then if you are applying for undergrad, Akil, then add undergraduate, right? And then you will have like top results in Google, and then I usually open the top three of that, and usually you will be redirected to websites that have ranking. First and until maybe 100, top 100, top 50, top 20, and those are just like those are not like you apply all of them, but it's just like to show you that, look, this university have the program that you want. And then you have to go deeper into that again. So let's say there is university A, B, and C. You want to go to each university website of A and B and C to see if this is the computer science that you want. Because they can be the same bachelor in science and computer science for you, but you are going to study a bit different things because of the curriculum and the course list that can be different from one to another university in United States. But that's like the starter of how you can find universities that have the program that you want. I hope that answers your question. Vina, you have anything to add on that? I'm trying to.
Yeah, no, I mean that's also like how I would also answer this kind of question. But yeah, because there are some of the other advisors. Do you remember this website Peterson?
Yeah, Peterson's,
So
but
so the other advisors like to like these kind of questions. They usually say go to Peterson website. But I'm not like a big fan of that website at all, because I think the database is too broad. I prefer to just use Google. Like we love Google, right, Santika? Like we just love Google. Exactly. You just like play around with the keyword. And then there are actually a number of like websites like US News or QS rankings, or even like sometimes from like an institution
Mm-hmm.
where they are focusing on that program, and they usually do their own type of rankings. That's the type of universities that we want to look at. We don't want to
Mm-hmm.
look at ranking just because of they
The
are big,
name.
the names,
Yeah.
right? Like in general, if you want to just see the general rankings, the top world universities, you get those universities, and you heard a lot of these big name
Right.
universities. But then it doesn't mean that if let's say, University of A, it's number one like worldwide, it
That
doesn't
would
mean
be
that
for you.
every single major is actually number one for that
Yes.
campus.
That's right.
So we want to kind of like take a look at the specific program,
Yes.
right? So exactly like what Santika said, if you want to study computer science, then you just play around with the
The
keyword,
word,
and
the
sometimes
keyword.
it will pop
Yes.
up. Exactly, yeah.
Because sometimes there's this one time when advisee came into me and she is so confused, and I just play around with the keywords of what she wants to study, and then the university name actually popped up on the search results, so you don't really have to go to other websites on the list first, and then go to you know look at, okay, which one should I do research on, which university should I go first. But it's just the search results is there, the university website directly, that they have that, and they promote it. So if they promote it, the chances are it's there, it's quite good. So you just need to find out whether or not the course the facilities, the school is for you, is the best fit for you. So that's how I will do it. Okay. And you can try so many websites like US News, Peterson's, and then there are others. If you go to Google, studyusa.com. So yeah, just play around with different websites, and I think that will give you a broader knowledge on how to do it next. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And moving to another question, still about like informational, in my opinion. This is from Nala Kurniawan in Zoom. Hi, Vina and Santika, happy to have this event today. My question is, what differs U.S. education system for master's degree from UK or Australia? I know you love this question, Vina. I know you love this.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Like I read it earlier, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still
Yeah,
gonna get this
yeah.
question.
We have to answer this.
Yeah. So first of all, it's very biased, right? Because Santika
Yes.
and I, we are with
You're
education.
asking
Of
education
course,
yesterday. Yeah.
studying in the US is like the best, right? But again, like for me personally, education is education, right? Wherever you decide to study, even
Cool.
like in Indonesia, it's education. It's something that it's just amazing, right? It's something that you can definitely like, yeah, wherever, right? But for to answer like this specific question is what differs US education system from master's degree from UK and Australia. I'm going to answer it, and this is actually not coming from me because I don't know at all actually anything about like the UK
Yes.
or even like Australia education. But what I'm about to say is basically the stories from different people, and
Yeah.
then I see the connection in there. Basically, they are saying the same thing.
They're
Even
from your advices, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of my advisees, they shared with me about like their friends who went to, like other countries outside the U.S. I also had an advisee who end up studying outside the U.S. and they
Yeah.
regret it. They regret it to the point where they actually want to come back to the U.S. and redo the study again. So what I heard about like how is they're different is just because even like from the application process itself is already different. Remember when I said the way they review your application is holistically, right? That is already different. The way you write an essay is already different because like with other countries it's more like you telling the narrative story about your past, but like with the US it's more about like what you want to do in the future with this degree. That's already different, right? But in terms of like the education system itself, it's they say like in the US it's very like hands-on experience.
Yeah.
It's really innovative in a way that you're not only just attending classes, the lectures and everything, but the kind of activities that they do is really preparing you to actually, once you're done with the degree, you're going to start implementing it right away.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas and then I thought, wait, so other countries they don't do that? And then some people told me that they don't.
Yeah.
So other countries they said it's more like you're definitely getting the knowledge, but then that's it.
It's a theory.
Exactly. And then the one thing that I really love about like like assisting people who want to study in the US compared to other countries is that with the essay, right? In the essay, the US universities they really want to know about what do you want to do? What do you want to do with this degree? Why do you have to come to our campus? Like how can we help you? Right? So the kind of advices that we have, right, Santika, it's more like people who already know, who already know what you want to do.
Yeah.
So right after you graduate, you're going to implementing it right away. And that's like something that I've seen with my advisees. I've been with Education USA for 5 years, so there are already a number of advices that I helped in the past who already come back to Indonesia. I don't actually like, and we sometimes we're still in touch. And then I asked them about like their other friends like who went also into the US. They said, oh yeah, no, they got the job here. They start the startup here. So it's like coming back to from the US, coming back to Indonesia, and then you guys are just like doing things, amazing things.
Yeah.
Whereas with like other countries, because the universities outside the US, they are not necessarily want to know what do you need the major for. They just want to take a look if you get a good GPA and then they're gonna accept you, right? So for people, so the way I look at it, for people who wants to study masters but they don't know what they want to use the major for, the program for, then maybe you can pick countries outside the US because they allow you to do that. They don't really care about what you're going to do after graduating, right? But if you want to study in the US, it's almost like disayangkan banget kalau kalian mau study di US, but you guys don't have the plan already. And we rarely got that advisory, right, Santika? Probably like in a year, we have what, 1-2 people who kind of like want to study in the US, but they don't really know exactly what they want to do. But the other, like what, hundreds of advisees that we meet every single year, all of you guys have at some point
know what you want. At least they know what they want and develop that kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do and everything. Sometimes advisee needs like a little push or a boost of the confidence because I think this is what Indonesians' problems are. They think that I'm not special. Like my GPA is just this much. A lot of people want to help this country with doing this, the same field. Why am I special? Should I like write this down because this is kayak biasa aja gitu loh gitu. But no, it's actually very good. When Vina and I gonna read your essay, we're like, we ask you questions. So you want to do this? This is cool. And you're like, yeah, but there are so many people who wants to do that now. And we go like, no. I mean, you have to be confident because this is great. You need to put that in more details. You are the expert here, la la la. So you just sometimes need the boost of confidence and everything that you have this good vision. So you just need to make it. So you just need the university and the program like your stepping stone, put it that way. And also when Vina mentioned that, I feel like, I want to say that people who choose US already like really, really choose US or nothing at all. It's like they have this mentality that they are ready to go through this huge ordeal, making essays bolak-balik sama kita kadang berapa kali 10 5-6 times. Satwika, I don't know how many times you have come back to me. I think 4 times by now. And I have advisee who came back for several times, 5 to 6 times to 10 times. It depends, like how good your essay is, because sometimes writing is not your skills, not your strong suit, but you can have other parts that you can improve, which is your resilience. Like you come back for more. Better input and everything, you improvise, always improvise. Jadi kayak emang mentality-nya udah beda because you know that it's worth working hard for. And that's that. I also have like 1 or 2. I think so far I only had 1 that choose another country just because I think like the funding and everything. But that was unfortunate. And Ada satu yang LPDP-BIT. I'm really really amazed because she have this grit. Like she is from the only one. If you remember, Vina, the only one from Maluku, is it? From Aceh atau Maluku? The only one yang dapat yang ke US from that place, from this place in Indonesia, bagian timur. And she came back to me for, I think, 6 or 7 times for essay review, and she finally got to Texas UT Austin, and then apa yang Aegis itu. So she really is kayak showing that she can do it because she have a good vision gitu. So if people who wants to apply to US have the vision, I think it's just the right place for them to go to US. But if you're just looking for a degree, like just degree, yang penting punya master, that maybe you won't go through all of the hassle, you know.
Yeah. I mean, technically you can study in the US just like to get the degree, and you not necessarily need to know about like what you want to do in the future, but it's going to be very tough. And I just feel like sayang gitu loh kayak ke US because you're going to get all this exposure, you know, and then you're coming back to Indonesia and you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to do. But then again, this is what I love about, like, this is what make me kind of like keep going with like Education USA, because to the point where I kind of like, wait, is there actually people coming in and then they don't know what to do? And the answer is no. So you guys who are watching this session, like, even though maybe at some point you don't know exactly what you want to do, but I'm pretty sure that you already know exactly what you want to do. You just don't
more
know.
Like sometimes they're just not sure, you know. They know, but they're just not sure. And another thing that I want to mention, I don't know how it is in other countries than US, because we both went to US, and I want to share to you guys that every time you start a class, jadi every time you start a course in a quarter or semester, you will be given a syllabus. So each class will have different syllabus. So class A maybe have this, so all of them will account to 100%, which means how you can get your 4.0, how it contributes to your 4.0 GPA for that course. They will break it down. So this professor will break it down to, let's say, class participation, attendance, group discussion, research paper, team paper, individual paper, however they want it, okay? But they won't put like quiz 50%, test 50%. So if you ace quiz and test, then you'll get 4.0. No, it's not like that. So you will have to train yourself to be challenged. Like you have to attend the class, you have to do group discussion. Participation, everything will account to your GPA for the 4.0 that you are targeting yourself to. So even if you didn't come to class, so if class participation is one of the things that contribute to your 4.0, not attending the class but having the perfect grades for your test will not make you have a perfect score. And that's what I think is shaping each student in the United States when they come back to Indonesia is different, you know, like they are more proactive, they have more well-rounded, more balanced personality and traits, in my opinion. And I think you can also see that so many US graduates actually make startup companies in Indonesia. I think that also speaks of the quality of the alumni from US. So yeah, that's that. Here you go, Satwika. I hope my goals is cool enough for PhD though. Yes, I remember your essay. You have been lecturing for 6 years and you want to do more. So that's definitely good. I remember the essay. So yeah, I think that's that for we trying to convince you why US is better. And we move to apa nih? SOP and CV. Okay, Vina, this is also your favorite.
Oh, my favorite.
Yes. So I will start with the one with the creating first. This is from Andre in Zoom. Hi guys, thanks for creating this event. I'm writing my statement of purpose at the moment. I was wondering if it is common to cite academic articles for an SOP. Also, the campus I'm applying to has priority and firm deadlines. Do you have an idea why they have different admission deadlines? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the question, Andre. So I was wondering if it's common to cite academic articles for an SOP. If do you mean citing as in like like you put kayak kalau lagi nulis academic paper yang kayak kamu nulis kayak source satu di paling bawah gitu yang kayak AL apa kalau kita di US kan ALA
LA, AMA, APA.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, something yang kayak emang kamu nge-cite kayak where do you get the source and everything. The answer is I would say no, unless kayak kamu nih lagi bikin kayak research proposal for PhD, then probably yes. But we are writing an essay. Statement of purpose. A lot of people kind of like think that this is something like very kayak kaku, very formal, kayak as if you're writing like an academic paper. But it's actually not. It's more like you're writing a story. So we don't have to be that serious. But then if you're citing or if you get the data or the information from like outside like source outside, you can just simply mention it like according to the World Bank or according to whatever Indonesia is set to be blah 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 something like that. So just simply as that. And then the next one is what? Also the campus I'm applying to. Okay, so this is we're talking about like deadlines, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, in the US, there are different type of deadlines. The one that is just the regular deadline, it is regular deadline. So sometimes we see a lot of advices right now where the deadlines are coming up. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of advices that have the deadline in December the 1st or like December the 15th. Itu paling common tuh kayak Desember 1, Desember 15, Januari 1 ada tapi jarang, January 15. So it's always like either on the 1st or like the 15th. And sometimes like ada yang kayak November, aku nggak tahu deh, ada nggak? Do you have like any advices yang deadline November?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. So
that was
itu biasanya regular. Yeah. So with the regular deadlines, how they do it is that they're not. If they say like the deadline is December 15th, it doesn't mean that you should submit everything like before that. So December 15th, and then you feel like, oh, for me to get like a higher chance, I will submit my, like my application like in November. It's not. It doesn't work that way because with the regular deadline, they're not going to review your application until after the deadline. So if the deadline is December 15, they are going to only review your application start in December 16 until however long they need to review the application, right? So that's a regular deadline. So you don't have to worry about like submitting everything like way ahead. And then there are also priority deadline or firm deadline. I think firm deadline means just similar to regular deadline, but with priority deadline is so there are a number of universities where I don't know if it's kind of like applicable to like master's degree as well, but like untuk S1 ada mereka tipe deadline kayak priority deadline mereka bilangnya or early deadline where it's kind of like a binding type of deadlines. It means that if you submit your application using that deadline, if you get accepted, you have to take the offer. It's really common for like bachelor's degree, but I don't like. Maybe I think there are a number of universities for masters about this as well. So it's a binding. It means again, like I said earlier, you have to take it if they offer it. What happens if you don't take the offer? Don't do that. Don't do it because what I read is that the universities, if you don't take the offer, they will kind of like tell the other universities that if you got this student, the student is kind of like not taking our offer, and then it just kind of like your name kind of like dicap jelek gitu loh. So we don't want that. But tapi ada juga kayak tipe deadline, they call it early deadline or priority deadline yang kayak maksudnya artinya lebih. So it's common like for MBA program for example. They call it like round 1, round 2, round 3. It's not like a binding program. It's just that for round 1, for example, it's like when they accept the most applicant, right? So that's why a lot of people kind of like try to aim for round 1, and then when it comes to round 2, it's kind of like it's like kind of like safe if you want to do round 2, but like when it comes to round 3, it's kind of like sisaan gitu loh. So if they have like sisa seats for like 5 or 10 seats left, and then if you apply for round 3, that's when you really want to really show that your application is really really different because they only try to pick the best of the best, right? So that's why a lot of people don't want to do like round 3. They prefer to do like round 1 or round 2. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
Okay, I think that really helps. And Gustika is here, so one of our advice.
Gustika, hi.
Thanks for coming. And she add an info here. Early admission for Columbia fall term 2021 is November. So I met my advisee that is applying to Columbia for next year as well, and he mentioned something really funny, that the deadline is being pushed back. So like it was 5th, I think 5th November, and then now it's 15th November. So it shifted back, and he was correcting, like revising his essay again because of the deadline is being pushed back. So I told him that so I think it's a really good chance for people who wants to apply for next year. Looking at if they push back the deadline, the chances are maybe the number of applicants is not what it used to be. So who knows, right? Take your chance and apply to US now. And Jimmy here have a question. I'm curious how to make a living for students if they are not allowed to work outside of campus, if they do not have a scholarship. Thank you.
So we don't, so we don't recommend people to try to work in the US to basically cover your
whole tuition and living costs.
Yeah, because it's
not doable.
Yeah, it's not doable. It's not
doable, especially when you are an international student, because the rate of the tuition fee is different. Like it's different from if you are U.S. citizen or the in-state students. So yeah, for bachelor, usually most of students who go to U.S. from Indonesia are self-funding. And even if they got fully funded scholarship, usually is from the school. And that not to mention some university only give the full tuition, so they still have to cover their own living cost. So yeah, I think you need a sponsor somehow if that's the case. And for master or PhD usually have the university funding, especially if it's research heavy. But it's kind of like limited slot as well, limited opportunity. For master, LPDP or Fulbright, but still, even if you work on campus, that will only kind of like give you some allowance. It won't like cover the whole thing that you need to cover. You know, it's just not doable. Okay, I hope that answers you, Jimmy. And we will go back to SOP question.
Yes, my favorite.
I saved this for the last because I think we are in the in the moment of having a lot of SOP or CV review requests. So I think this is just more relevant these days. So from Ardila Sri Wijayanti in Zoom, do we need to prepare something before having session with Vina and Santika, like CV or personal statement and stuff? Thank you. So when you want to get your essay or CV or resume reviewed, we kind of expect you to send them to us first, not like, come in and then, hi Vina or hi Santika, I want to review my essay today. Because it will take 1 hour at least for like an extensive review session and giving you input, because Vina and I will scribble on your essay digitally. That's why if you send us first, so your essay, we want like the prompt or the question instructions on top of your essay in a Word document, and then send it to our email. So we kind of like want you to choose between Vina or me, just one, because then if I give you input today and then you go to Vina, and then Vina won't know what kind of input that I have given, and vice versa. Yeah. So that's for essay. And when you send us, your Word document of your essay draft, we will let you know, like, come in when and whatever. So that's that. Vina have her preferred days for essays, right? So that's that. And for CV or resume, we expect it is already in US template. So if your CV or resume is still in like the Indonesian CV or resume, like have photos and everything, biodata and everything, we don't need it. We want you to make it into the US template first and then send it to us in email as well. But if you don't know what, US template looks like and everything, we encourage you to come to our session, our monthly event, Yavina.
Yep.
The how to build strong CV resume and letter of recommendation one, which is next week. I'll give the link if you are in the Zoom, because then it will ease you to just register. Okay.
And I think Santika, if you can also share the link of that the CV or resume sample that you get from
cool.
campus, just to kind of like save everyone's time. So exactly like what Santika said, when you want your resume or CV reviewed, please change it to the US version one. We won't move forward with the like reviewing yours if you're still in the Indonesian one. And speaking of resume and CV, Santika and I, we just have a different style in reviewing it. So I can tell you right now, like if you want your resume or CV being reviewed, please go to Santika. Because Santika is such a
detailed
person, which is like amazing, way detailed than I do. When it comes to resume and CV, and because for me, when it comes to resume and CV, it's more like, first of all, I pay attention to the outlook. Just for me, as long as the outlook is just like you follow the US version one, then I'm just gonna like really skim it through real quick about the content, right? And then I have the eyes to kind of see like, oh ini agak miring dikit nih, kayak ini marginnya bisa dipendekin dikit deh gitu. Atau misalnya kayak ini namanya bisa digabung nih kayak sama alamat dan everything gitu, kayak gitu-gitu sih. Tapi kayak in terms of the content, I don't really like, I skim it through, but then for me, because it's something yang kayak definite juga ya, kayak, I mean, you know what you're doing, you know what your responsibility is, and stuff like that. So I don't really like, probably aku cuma kayak ngecek, just like very quickly. But Santika is doing really good in like reviewing that. So yeah, so that's that. And I'm like, but when it comes to essay, now I'm mentioning essay.
Yes, go for it.
I say the word, yeah, and when I say the word essay, I can't stop. So probably this is like, I think this is gonna be like the last session. So with essay, I love reading essays. So and I love what I read as well. And the fact that the US essay is very, what's the word? Very particular, like very specific what they're looking for. And I just love everything that I read about you guys wanting to do this for Indonesia. I want to do this for my community. I want to do that. I have this, innovation that I want to do for my country. And everything about like what I read when it comes to like essays, I love it. Right. So probably to answer Adila's question is, wait, I forgot something. Have you mentioned about, so with essay, we don't review it offline.
Yeah, we don't. Okay. So what happened is you send it to us via email, but we won't like read and make comments and send it back to you like that. We want you to come into Zoom, right, Vina?
Yeah. And then the funny thing about it is that, so there are people like kayak nanya kan, tapi sebenarnya bisa nggak sih if you guys do it offline? The answer is yes, I can do it. But do I want to do it? No, I don't want to do it. I like it when I review the essay, the person who's writing it is with me. And sometimes kayak ketika aku baca, I need like full like concentration to the point kayak maybe some of you will be like, and I'm a slow reader. So when I read your essay, I will read your essay. And sometimes aku kayak butuh, kayak sometimes ada kayak mungkin ada 3-5 menit yang kayak aku literally silence, we're not talking because I'm reading your essay. Probably to the point where you kind of like think, so what am I doing here if you're not gonna talk? Exactly. But then trust me, I'm going to make you talk, because after I read your essay, I will be like asking lots of questions, right? So this is something funny because I just had in a session earlier. I don't know if I told him to attend this session, and then I said, okay, what just happened? I'm going to share it with the event today. So dia anak LPDPBIT dari Ternate.
Nice.
Right? I think Ternate, yeah.
See, we kind of like forgot the name of the places, but LPDPBIT is very special, yeah?
Very special. Yeah. So I love reading essays for like, aku bilang ke dia kayak, kalau teman-teman LPDP BIT lagi pada kosong, bilangin kita ada sesi jam 2 gitu kan. So, kenalan sama aku dan Santika gitu. So,
Yes,
but
please.
anyway, so kayak di essay-nya dia itu kita baru ketemu 2 kali ya. Dia baru ketemu 2 kali dan lumayan agak banyak revisinya karena strukturnya masih belum seperti yang biasanya aku share pas lagi event essay. Right, so di situ aku bilang ke dia kayak, okay, so we want to talk about the organization that he runs, right? And then he wants to make it better to the point where to make it better he needs to study masters in the US, right? But then aku bilang ke dia kayak, but I still don't see it. Why this is such an emergency? Why this is such an like there's no urgency in the essay to the point where I feel like reading your essay. You don't have to study masters. You can just do it. You can. Why can't you just continue? Like kayak make the institution better. And then dia jawab tuh kayak dia bilang, no, because di kampus ini tuh ada ini, di mana kayak I still don't have that. Terus aku bilang, where is it in your essay?
Yeah, exactly.
Kayak, oh yeah.
Iya ya.
So that kind of thing yang kayak so intinya the reasons why I need to talk to you, why Santika needs to talk to you, is we kind of like trying to trigger you to kind of like think something that you haven't thought about to be put in the essay.
Or you have think about, but you don't think you should put it in your essay.
Exactly.
That's very, very often.
Kayak
kita juga essaynya kayak he wrote all of these good things why he wants to be a better lecturer and everything so that he can teach more students. Terus aku kayak you need to put more kayak itu yang like you said kayak more urgency that they need this gitu.
Iya, kayak spesifik banget. Ya, so spesifik banget dia. Jadi dia bilang di essay itu bahwa intinya kayak the organization is more about like helping high school students to choose the right program for the undergraduate because dia and he provided the data that like some like really high number of high percentage of people in Indonesia kayak nggak nyambung jurusan kuliah sama pekerjaan. So aku bilang kayak so what? So you're making this statement, the way I look at it, so what? And then dia diem. Gitu kan. Terus dia diem kayak kenapa ini penting? Kenapa ini suatu hal yang kayak it's a thing. And then he said, well, because like with the bonus demography in Indonesia, blah. So aku bilang kayak where is it in your essay? And then he said, oh ya juga ya nggak ada di essay.
Iya gitu.
That kind of thing, that kind of sort of things is like when we need you to be present, right? It's bisa juga sebenarnya ya San kita kayak ninggalin komen offline tapi kan bakal lama ya kayak ketika aku bakal baca aku bakal nulis komen what's the point of this statement and then you have to read it and then you kind of like what's the point of this statement
iya kayak kita bertanya nggak ada jawaban gitu there's no other party no author to ask gitu so when we read then we have questions it's nice to ask mereka kayak if you've been to the essay review with us, you know what will happen. Jadi kalau aku juga sama kayak Vina, I will read and it's silent. Aku bahkan mute karena aku gampang terganggu. So what I said to my advisee when they come in for like essay review itu kayak, okay, aku baca dulu ya. I will need like about 30 minutes to make the scribble and everything, and then I will send it back to you with kayak apa yang aku mark yang aku mau nanyain ke kamu dan kamu tanyain ke aku. So it's like I let you know that this part mungkin menurut aku nggak gitu nyambung atau gimana gitu. But we definitely don't write essay together. Right, Vina? So you come to us with an essay, not like an outline and everything. Maksudnya kalau outline mungkin masih okay lah, but like only the first time because then after that if you still stuck in an outline that means you just need to push yourself harder to write them down, okay, regardless of bener apa enggak strukturnya dan segala macam, and that's for the review session. But if you're stuck just in the outline terus you expect Vina or me to like okay, let's develop this outline, kita nggak bisa kayak gitu karena imagine how long it will take. That's one. The second one, that will not be your essay, right? That will.
So I think what Santika is trying to say is you don't give us work. You don't give Santika and I work to do. Like I will make you guys work, but then we're guiding you, right? But for us to guide you, you have to be able to come up with exactly the outlines. We can talk about it. Kayak misalnya kayak aku tadi baca essay juga tuh dia bilang, so Vina, how about kalau misalnya pas aku lagi ngomongin bagian ini, kaya I talk about da. Do you think it's something that interesting to read? And then we can kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Atau misalnya kayak, yeah, we brainstorm it together, but it's not like, yeah, you don't give us outline and then you ask us like, okay, so from this outline that I have, which part do you think that I should write?
Yes.
That's kind of like you giving us work, but then
Or
yeah,
like,
it's not like
can you help me choose one or two or three? I mean, it's your experience. I mean, I cannot like choose which one because you only give like one or two sentences there. It's a brief. So yeah, it's very hard for us to do that. But yeah, like Vina said, I mean, you bringing your essay for us to give input and review is already work, but you adding them is kind of hard on us because then we don't want it to be like we are the one who kind of write your essay in a way it's not originally or authentically yours and your experience alone. Because then that's not what Education USA can do because what we do is guiding you. Not like those paid institutions that can maybe give you a lot more for that.
Yeah, and
um
and then
yeah.
something that I would like to add. Yeah, we still have time. Something that I would like to add, and this is something that I usually share during the essay event, but I would like to share with you guys as well here, just to give you a heads up. Actually, and sometimes people kind of like, what did you say? So what I'm about to say is, actually there is no like right or wrong formula when it comes to essay.
That's right.
But I have this session every single month, and Santika and I we review this essay is because I found the formula, right? It's not the formula that I all of a sudden have by the time I joined Education USA. It actually took me about 2 years after I joined Education USA that I feel confident to share with the world about this formula. So not I created, like the more I read essay, the more I see the connection between like one paragraph to another, to the point kayak, kok ini orang-orang advice-ku ketika aku bilang nulis esainya kayak gini pada keterima ya, gitu. Sampai kayak I keep checking that, and then keterima terus with that formula that took me 2 years to build, right? To the point where I have this monthly event and I would like to share with you. So this is not like the formula that like the US universities are saying that, oh, you have to write like this way and then that way and this way and that way. But I would like to share it with the world, that I would like to share it with you guys, that this is, when you have this kind of structure, your chance of getting it would be, it's there. I'm not saying that if you exactly write like that, you're going to get accepted, but we just see like it's likely for you to get accepted with that kind of essay. So yeah.
So yeah, I received private messages from Konita that she said she kind of like email us, and she haven't get a response. So if you email us and it takes some time for us to reply, please have patience because this is like the busiest time of the year.
This is the busiest time of the year.
The most CV resume and emails that we receive because of the deadline is approaching. So have more patience. And if your deadline is very close and you just come to us for review sessions, please don't be shocked if we kind of like, sorry, I think it's best that you don't get any more input because it will just make you panic. I got once advisee coming back to me one day before the deadline, and I'm like, no, I don't want to give you another input just to make you sure that you want to apply. Because then it will mess up the whole system there. So, and another private message is, could you please type down yours and Miss Fina's email address? I'm assuming that she wants to send us the essay. I think what will happen is if you send us your essay and Fina or me think that it's not there yet, we will just like ask you to come to our monthly event on how to write essay, or like watch the previous one last month recording, either one, and then maybe you can come back to us after you watch the session, make improvements. And
so usually what happens if someone comes for the first time to us and then they want you guys want your essay review, the first question that I usually ask would be, have you attended the essay session? So if the answer is no, I would highly recommend you to watch it. So I would see the date, right? Kalau misalnya emang ada yang lagi deket nih esai apa event tentang esai gitu kan. So I will give you the date kalau nonton ini dulu deh gitu kan. Atau kalau misalnya emang agak masih jauh, aku nge-refer untuk kayak nonton yang apa yang terjadi di bulan lalu. It's not live, but I mean it's still there. I'm basically giving the same presentation, but usually the way I present it is always different all the time. I don't know why. So
that's fun though.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's what makes me kayak look forward to this event because I don't know what I'm gonna say. Kayak tiba-tiba ada aja gitu keluar gitu kan kayak.
Ya. And the questions too. So yeah.
The question is always different ya, San?
Yeah, always. Very dynamic. And that's why even if you use the same presentation, and me too, if I have a recurring same titled event, same PPT or like just updated PPT, but it's just a different feeling because then the questions and participants gonna be different. And I think it's just a dynamic thing that we love to do this, like letting people know. And yeah. Okay,
ada Christy nanya, hi, I'm currently stuck in writing my essay. I don't have a completed essay draft to be reviewed. Is it okay if I show up at a Zoom advising session with this unfinished draft? Absolutely. Even kayak justru sebenarnya kayak aku bilang ke orang kalau apalagi kalau misalnya deadline-nya masih lama, I usually tell people that we can take it one at a time because it can actually be very overwhelmed, just like writing like the whole essay from like one paragraph to like another. So I say take it one at a time. Kayak misalnya tadi juga ada advice-ku datang gitu, and then kayak ini deadline-nya kapan ya? Dia bilang early December. And then I said, oh yeah, you don't have the luxury to just like write one paragraph. You don't have that time, right? So we have to be very quickly. So then in that case, you have to have like a really, like every time you come into Zoom, then you will have to have, at least I expect you to have like the full draft. But kalau misalnya deadline masih lama, then take it one at a time. So yeah, to answer Christy's question, even if your deadline, Christy, is like coming up, but then you still prefer to just share whatever draft that you have, absolutely. But then again, like what Santika and I mentioned about, like, please have it like in a draft form, not like just outline. The reasons why we mentioned this is because we sometimes have this kind of like cases, yeah, so the deadline is coming soon, and this is my draft, like this is my outline. Can you please, help me like choose? And no, we're not here to
and we're first come first serve too. Jadi kayak if you come to us first, then the chances are you will get get reviewed first compared to like if you emailed us later on. Jadi kayak that's how it works. Even if we are on site, ya kan, siapa yang datang duluan, siapa yang akan ngomong dulu sama kita, and that's why. And with essay it's just a bit different because the time that we will spend is like what, satu jam at least. So that's why we ask you to email it to us first, and we'll get back to you on our availability gitu. All right, so I think that's that. We only have 7 minutes left. I also shared, like, if you guys want a one-on-one essay review or anything, that's our email there in the Zoom chat box. But Vina's email is falatas@educationusa.org, and mine is ssalim@educationusa.org. Choose one, not two of us.
Yes, because we don't, karena ada beberapa yayasan yang kayak tolong dibacain dong gitu, because you guys feel like kalau misalnya bisa ada dua advisors yang ngebacain bakal bagus. I wish we could do it just because like we are so busy. Kayak Santika, her own advisees. I have my own advisees. So we just currently we are super, like, we have a lot of advisees to work with on the essay. So we kalau bisa hanya satu aja. Ini ada Andrian Fernandez. Tadi kalau nggak salah Andrian nih di YouTube sekarang pindah ke Zoom. Hi, hopefully you're still here. It's a quick question. Any tips how to improve the score of TOEFL or IELTS? What do you think, Santika?
Kenapa?
Like how to improve the score of TOEFL or IELTS?
TOEFL or okay.
It's tricky to answer because it's like about English, right? What do you think?
For TOEFL or IELTS, I think all standardized tests, not cuma TOEFL sama IELTS, is when you have more practice. But for TOEFL and IELTS, because they are English proficiency, if you use more English on a daily basis, you learn more English, it will actually help you. But the pace of people learning language is different, and the style of learning juga beda. So you need time to explore. Okay, mungkin kamu tipe yang harus ngobrol, baru lebih pinter belajar bahasa Inggris. Or you're the type to read. or you cannot just do one, you have to do two. Ya udah, jadi you have to read and listen, bergantian gitu. So it really depends on your style of learning. That's one. But for the test itself, for TOEFL or IELTS test itself, the more practice you have, the better. And if you already practice on your own, kayak ada free resourcesnya di ets.org for the free practice test. And for IELTS is from British Council Foundation.id, itu ada semua free trial testnya. Kayak apa ya? Kalau UAN itu apa sih namanya? Tryout ya, kayak tryout. So the more tryout you do, the better you will be at it. But if after tryout kamu kayak menilai tryout kamu sendiri kayaknya kurang banget, and you need more help, then maybe you need to look for extra help outside of self-learning. Tapi kalau untuk TOEFL IBT, we have the prep course in the past 12 sesi. It's recorded. There is video link. I have the list of video links for that. If you want it, you can email me at salim@educationusa.org. I will ask you why you need it actually. Like you want to apply to US, okay, which part gitu. But very simple. And IELTS we have introduction only. Still, if you need it, email me. Same email. Terus tadi Gustika di sini nanya, very interesting because we keep on mentioning kalau essay ke Vina, kalau CV ke aku. So she asked, kalau misalnya review CV dengan aku, Santika, dan essaynya dengan Kak Vina, boleh nggak? Boleh banget. So Vina actually love to refer me CV or resume review of her advices, just because I am, I find it easier to find inconsistency in templates. So I think that works with CV. Gitu. Jadi kayak kalau satu strip atau spasinya kurang, I will see it. So yeah, for essay, Vina loves essay, but of course, if she already have so many essays to read, I will also do essay review. Jadi kita sebenarnya nggak terlalu ada pembagian kayak oke, semuanya harus ke sini dan semuanya harus ke situ. Okay? I hope that helps. And do we have more questions? For mentioning about Duolingo. Okay, Satwika here. So yeah, Duolingo is also an English proficiency test. It's a good alternative if you guys find TOEFL IBT or IELTS very expensive, because Duolingo is much cheaper and people say it's easier, but please explore first. Try the questions before you actually pay for the test itself. Okay, Vina, any last words or closing time?
Yes, so thank you guys so much for tuning in to this event. It's really exciting. Again, like ini tuh seru banget ya Kesan, karena kayak again like this kind of events we don't know what to cover, but then it just
we didn't
naturally.
So many questions.
Have something to talk. Yeah, exactly. And the questions that you guys have are just like really amazing. And so intinya kayak this kind of questions like and we're really glad to see recurrent advices, people that we've heard or people that we've met in Zoom or in person. But intinya juga kayak we want to urge everyone, if this is your first time, to really use our service. Like I know that Santika said that this is like our busiest time, but it doesn't stop us to urge everyone to come in, right? So sometimes aku ada kayak day yang nggak ada orang gitu kan. Walaupun kayak sometimes aku juga kayak nge-pull everyone's like in 1 or 2 days, dimana kayak emang aku kayak lagi emang untuk baca essay banget gitu kan. But sometimes people kayak jadinya nggak bisa advising sama aku karena kayak line-nya lagi banyak banget orang yang ngantri gitu kan. But don't apa ya kayak just keep trying to come into Zoom. Exactly. Aku ada orang yang kayak udah seminggu nggak bisa masuk terus karena ngantri terus gitu kan. Tapi eventually dapat gitu loh. So and I want to read everyone's essay if I could, right? So yeah, thank you guys so much for attending the session. This month and next month we are not going to have like a lot of events because we are nearing like the end of the year and kayaknya orang juga kayak udah holiday mode a little bit like when it comes to December. But that being said, we actually expect to see more people to come see us for advising sessions. But I'm already like really excited for January 2021 because I have a lot of like
events
in mind for like new programs because it's New Year and everything. So we really expect you to consider like reach out to us. So and thank you so much, Santika.
Thank you, Vina.
It's been a
And
fun.
everyone who came in, I also
Yes.
pasted
Mhm.
our upcoming event next week. Actually, satu sama Permies dan satu yang how to build strong CV resume.
Mhm.
So come again to see us and our guest
Yeah.
next week. Thank you
Mhm.
so much, Fina, and everyone. Love the session. I think we're gonna make more of this, right, Fina?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So I'll hand it back to America team. Okay, thank you, everyone. See you next
Thanks.
time.
All right, thank you so much, Kafina and Kasantika. That was a very informative session. We hope to see you again next time. Now, the rest of you, please don't go anywhere, because earlier in this event, I asked you guys, is it true or false that Princeton's acceptance rate for the class of 2024 is the lowest among Ivy League schools? And the right answer is false. Harvard's acceptance rate at 5.2% is the lowest among Ivy League schools for the class of 2024. But unfortunately, nobody got the answers right this time, so better luck next time. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Easy. You can go to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click Create an Event, and collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed, and your event might be featured here soon. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletters for weekly event updates sent straight to your inbox. Alright, everybody, I think that wraps up this episode. It has been really fun, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye for now. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at ATAmerica for event updates, fun content, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Alright, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Happy weekend. Bye bye.